Hello, and welcome to this installment of our IoT and AI podcast. I'm your host, Max Pollington, Digital Content Lead here at Ingram Micro UK, and I'm joined by Jerry O'Brien, our Director of Operations. Thanks for being here, Jerry.
No problem.
So today we're going to talk about the new industrial-grade AI solution that's been fitted in the Ingram Micro warehouses, which can be used to improve efficiency, adapt to the change in the current working climate due to COVID-19, and gain data intelligent insights with business continuity remaining at the core. So to start us off, Jerry, can you talk a bit about what business measures have been established to adhere to the current social distancing measures due to COVID-19, and how a solution like this ensures business continuity?
Yeah, sure. I think the key to it was that very early on we took this very seriously, obviously. We identified the risk very early, and we put measures in place very, very quickly. We did that by communicating consistently and regularly with our staff, listening to the government, listening to the company. We put actual physical measures in place, both visible posters, if you like, communication. We looked at each area where the possibility of crowding would occur, and we redesigned each area, marking it out into grids and 2-meter distancing measures, including the canteen, where we gridded out the canteen. Each table only has one chair, and you cannot get closer than 2 meters at each of the areas. On top of that, we enhanced our cleaning protocol, hand sanitizers, wipes. Entrance to site was geared to actually washing your hands or sanitizing before you come in. We identified the quarantine risk very early as well, which will link into the IoT piece. If people were unwell, we said stay at home, seek medical advice. If someone in the house is not well, stay at home, seek medical advice. If you're coming in a car, advice is do not car share. If you do, and one person is not well, again, you quarantine, do not come into the building. We used a self-policing policy, as we do on site anyway. So everyone is bought into the controls, the communication, the measures we're taking. Everybody is in agreement. We survey that absolutely regularly, I'd say on a day-to-day basis, one way or another. We do plenty of security checks, audits. We completed a complete site risk assessment. And of course, we added the thermal cameras. Now, the thermal cameras, you cannot enter the building without actually passing through the thermal camera. It's set at the security desk as you go into the warehouse. It's a great tool. Absolutely can measure temperatures of multiple people. We've got an area where we use it to control one person at a time, because we also have a security feature there with regards to a metal detector, so it works really well. It will highlight anyone's temperature. It sits on a monitor so the person can self-police as well, but it will alarm. If it reaches 37.8 degrees, an alarm will go off.
Wow.
And we have a self-isolating area already set up with a second check happening, just to determine from a handheld, still a distance tool, just to verify whether the temperature is high or not. If it's high again, we have a planned exit route, which takes you away from anyone. And then the advice is obviously to go home, seek medical advice, get a test.
So it's really not just the business sort of from top to bottom, ensuring that it's just clean and safe as well with things like hand sanitizer, but also the entire journey of the team has been ensured to sort of keep them safe, as well as sort of having a security measure for everyone else around them.
Absolutely, and the key to that is, like, the well-being of our staff is paramount, right? If our staff are well, then we can absolutely execute for the business and for our customers, right? Yeah. And we've done that for 7 months, right? So the other thing we do is we split the shifts. So we have, in case of an outbreak, we can control the amount of people that it may or may not infect or impact. So we have small teams working together, going on breaks together, etc. And we try and keep people apart through their day-to-day work life, you know.
Brilliant.
And it's worked very, very well. And we've been very consistent with the message.
That's fantastic. And so what would you say would be the benefits of this, of all these solutions, not just now, obviously, with COVID, but also in the future? Like, how would you say all these things kind of sort of benefit?
It's massive because we have had 3 or 4 alarms go off where we've had to ask people to go home. High temperature, obviously. It wasn't COVID related, but what it did identify was an infection somewhere else in the body. And again, for me, that is all about early intervention of something that could have possibly got a lot worse before that person. Obviously, they seek medical advice straight away, found the infection very early. It was, you know, just an enhancement of we probably should have had it in anyway. COVID was the tool that actually made us do it, but it is a very, very good wellbeing tool. Secondly, though, is a very good security feature as well. For a facility like this, it has face recognition, right? So what we can then do is identify to the system who you want in the building, who you don't want in the building, effectively without checks, and it can actually flag that no, we don't know this person, you know. So very, very good security feature.
I was just about to ask, yeah, that leads perfectly into my next question. So you've already kind of started it, but so the AI facial recognition technology ensures that temperatures can be measured, even with the use of face masks and equipment, can't they? Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more about how this solution actually works?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very easy system, and I talk about that through experience. It's a camera, a plug and play effectively, a black box which allows the camera to judge the temperature, to bounce off of it. It links to a monitor and a server. You very, very visible for self-policing. Anyone that comes into the office, not into the warehouse, also uses it just to, before they start their day, check the temperature. We are lucky here, we do have a config engineer, but effectively it is plug and play. You follow the instruction, you put the camera in where you want to put it, you put the black box where the instruction says, where within whatever distance, you set the black box at whatever temperature you want the camera to reflect off of, and then you plug it into the monitor, and the monitor is very clear for anyone that's looking at it, what temperature. Each person, it's not just one, it can do multiple people, right? We use it for one at a time. We have a box for obviously social distancing purpose, but it does do multiple entrants, if you like. If you had it in the hallway, for instance, you could pick up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many people are within that area, you know.
And actually, speaking of multiple people, on a mass scale, time efficiency is sustained due to multi-person measurement and efficiency and the adoption of a lean model, which obviously we do advocate at Ingram Micro. Can you talk me through this a little bit about the sort of the multi-person measurement on a mass scale?
Yeah, sure. I'll first of all just comment on the lean piece and the culture at Ingram Micro. Crick, right, is that, you know, we've been on a 4-year journey on the lean journey. It's a continuous journey. It's all about continuous improvement. It's very floor-based and floor-led, but it's data-driven, and that's the key piece, right? We do have Kaizens constantly, you know, 400 or 500 today, right? And Kaizen is a quick improvement of a process or a movement or a machinery or whatever that is. Again, floor-led. The IoT piece absolutely enhances that, right? We have the manual process, but we also, and the teams responsible for that manual process, how do we take waste out of that process? The IoT piece enhances the data we look at and enables you, to whatever degree you want to go to reflect on what did you expect to happen today, i.e. people move into certain areas, for instance. What actually happened today and why did it happen? They're things you can really impact on the productivity of the site, again, the well-being of people, right? Because you don't want people traveling 10 times to the same area where they can travel once, right? So again, it just enhances everything we're trying to do here from a person well-being point of view, from a business effectiveness point of view, and from a continuous improvement point of view, you know? And again, it also links to machinery. There's a 4 M's of lean, you know, man, machinery, material. It helps you to engage in all of that, right? And movement is the fourth one. It can link in absolutely to, for instance, how often do you use a forklift for, right? When do you use it? Is it efficient? And again, the same with RS. It can be used for preventative maintenance as well. And again, you go back to the well-being of the business and the people. It can tell you in advance if something's going to break down. You know, like, for instance, a conveyor belt, maybe a forklift truck, you know. And there's a lot of cost in something when it breaks down. If you can see it before it breaks down, it saves a lot of cost. And also, it will pick up on, for instance, someone falling over, or a trip hazard, or someone not feeling well. You know, there's lots of opportunity to do whatever you want to do with this equipment and this technology, you know.
Brilliant. And that pattern recognition as well, yeah.
Absolutely, it's very, very effective. Now, and again, I go back to, the number one priority for us is the well-being of our people and the public, right?
Yeah.
Number one, right? But the benefit of getting that right is massive for the business, because if your staff are well, they're secure, you know, they work much more effectively, and they appreciate it, you know.
Yeah. So in terms of installation and sort of hitting the ground running with something like this, you did touch on it a little bit earlier with sort of what's actually involved, but how hard or easy would you say is this solution to actually install, and what does the process actually involve?
Yeah, no, I'm going to say very easy, right? Because again, although I didn't install it, we do have a config engineer on site, which helps. But in my head, I was part of the installation piece, i.e. trying to test the distance and getting the temperatures right. And it was very, very easy. And as I said, I can only liken it to a plug and play system.
Right.
You just need to follow the instructions that comes with it. You set it in the area you want. You set the black box, which is the bounce off for the camera to pick up an accurate temperature or face recognition. And then it worked very easily. And it does now, right? It's a very simple process. It's very effective.
Easier the better, I suppose. Then you can actually just get on with everything.
Absolutely, because then you just use the function of it, right? And the benefit.
You can just start getting all the benefits from it, and just you're already up and away. So based on the success of this installation and the insights that can be developed to sort of transform operations, what would be your message to organizations or businesses looking to install this AI solution that are thinking about it?
I would just don't think about it. Put in a plan. Obviously, the most important thing is to decide what you really want to do with it. You know, what is your objective? Now, for us, it's all about, as I've said, the well-being of our people and the public, which in turn leads to the well-being of the business, right? And I can't emphasize that enough. It has to be a benefit to the business as well as the people, right? And it does, you know, to enhance an already very successful lean program, as we have, which it does and it will do, to be able to see, for instance, footfall of people, how many people come through a door, how often they come through the door, where did they go when they come through the door, how long did they spend time doing something. And again, I go back to the well-being. Is there a trip hazard? Is someone not feeling well? All this will pick it up, right? And then you link that to utilities and looking at, say, for instance, a real-time spike in a utility cost usage. You know, at that point, you can really determine what's causing that spike and putting in action to reduce that spike, you know. So that the potential for that type of thing the cost effectiveness is absolutely paramount.
Yeah, you're getting so much out of it. It just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So,
You just
sorry,
want
I
to
was
be
just going to say, so one final thing on the social distancing. Well, once the social distancing has been lifted, crowd control measures need to be put in place. Do you see this moving into other areas such as warehousing, industrial sectors, maybe even leisure sectors? Do you see them sort of adopting this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The ability to, as I said, to see the footfall of people, what they're interested in, the safety of people as well, the benefits all round, you know, for instance, a shopping mall or a precinct, to understand where people are actually going, how long they're spending there, how many people are coming through, at the same time managing their security and their well-being, you know, is massive for any business. And I can't think of one business where this wouldn't be beneficial to the people, number one, but also to the business and its efficiency, number two, right?
Yeah.
And again, we're at the start of it. You know, I can see this just being more effective as we get used to it and as we understand the true power of what it can do, right?
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for your time today, Jerry. It's been great talking to you. And thank you to all of our listeners as well. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to keep an eye out for our upcoming IoT and AI podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay in the know with all things Ingram Micro. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact your dedicated account manager for more information. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, Jerry. Take care.
No problem. Bye.